very much. Good evening, everyone. Hi. My name is Rebecca Alcid, and I'm the director of the Food and Wine Experiential Programs here at Boston University. And I'm one of the founders of the Master of Liberal Arts in Gastronomy and the Culinary Arts programs. And I'm delighted that you are all here. This is part of the Jacques Pépin lecture series that we run every year. And I would like to introduce you first to Mary Beaudry, who is a professor of archaeology, anthropology, and gastronomy, and is presently running the academic programs here in gastronomy. Mary?
Thank you, Rebecca. And thank everyone for coming. We're delighted to have you here tonight. We're also delighted to introduce our honored guest this evening, Dr. Hervé This of the Institut National de la Recherche Agronomique en Paris. And he is essentially the person who created molecular gastronomy. And for us, this is a wonderful honor to have him here to talk about his latest book in a long series of wonderful books that some of you must be familiar with. I'm sure The Science of the Oven, Building a Meal from Molecular Gastronomy to Culinary Constructionism, Kitchen Mysteries, Revealing the Science of Cooking, Molecular Gastronomy, Exploring the Science of Flavor, all published by Columbia University Press. And of course, tonight, for only $15, we have copies of his newest book, Note by Note Cooking, available courtesy of Columbia University Press and Barnes & Noble Bookstore at Boston University. Tonight, what we hope you will enjoy is a demonstration of what Professor This means by note cooking, and then a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation that carries you further into his ideas and creativity about where we are going in the food world and how we'll be cooking in the future. Professor This.
Thank you. Thank you. So good evening, everybody. You know that I can be clean sometimes, so now I can drop the coat, okay? It will be easier. Thank you. Well, it's something strange because when people come for a lecture, I'm always wondering why they come. So probably it means that you have questions. Otherwise, questions more or less explicit. But for example, why did you come? Which is the question that you want to ask me?
How do you take apart food and reconstruct it?
How do I reconstruct food? I don't reconstruct food because cooking means making dishes. And when you make a dish, you build food. You don't deconstruct, and then you don't have to reconstruct. So this is answered. And you?
I came because I enjoy cooking, and I'm curious to see how you cook.
Okay, this is very funny because you enjoy cooking. Do many people here enjoy cooking? Okay. It's very strange. It's the same as eating, for example. You know, eating. Okay, eating, you have a plate in front of you. You take this kind of tool. You pick the piece, which is silly. You put this, and then you masticate like an animal. And people say, wow, I like eating. Is it true? To behave like an animal? No. Which means, and cooking is the same. Frying a steak, for example, you have a red piece of something. You have this tool, which is Middle Age. You press the button somewhere. You take the piece of red, bloody thing. You put it there. You wait. Then there is a smoke, and suddenly you decide. I don't know why. You turn it, which is silly. Even a machine could do it. And then you say, oh, okay, it's good. You put it on a plate and you serve it. Is it very funny? No. No, it could be done by the machine. So why do we love cooking? So this is a big issue. So thank you for the question. Why did you decide to come today?
I want to hear you. I've looked at your books and I just want to
hear
what you have to say about molecular gastronomy. I'm a physicist and I'm teaching a course on
okay, you will be deceived because there will be no equations and physics means equation.
Okay, I'll write the
And you?
Oh, I've read your books. I work with the American Test Kitchen. I teach some food science.
Okay. So the question is,
I'm here to learn, not to ask.
how is it possible to use some cooking something in order to teach? Which is, it's true that in French we have a proverb. We say we don't catch flies with vinegar, but it's true that with honey it's better. And we have good food. Okay, the students come and they say, "Oh, I love chemistry. I love physics." Good answer. And why did you decide to come?
Just interested in seeing techniques that you've come up with in action.
Technique, but technique is so easy. Anyway, who has question, by the way? Because you have a question. Thank you very much.
I actually came to ask you maybe at the end of the show if I can put a reverse molecular juice inside the macaron, if it's going to be stable and if I can freeze it.
Okay, very good. It's a very detailed question. So you decided to spend a whole evening on this detailed question. Send me an email, I will answer. Anyway, so it's generally funny because when you make a lecture, people don't have questions, more or less. But at the end, when you leave, at the end of lecture, you ask, do you have a question? Nobody has a question. So you leave and suddenly people come, oh, I wanted to ask you. No. So this is why I decided to ask, do you have questions? Because I would be ready to answer now. But of course, there is the question of note by note. And you don't know anything about note. You know about molecular gastronomy, but perhaps there is a confusion. So you have to explain what it is not the same as molecular cooking. Because I know that in America, many people, not everybody, but many people confuse molecular cooking and molecular gastronomy. And gastronomy means knowledge. Cooking means cooking. I don't say that you don't need any knowledge to cook, but knowledge in general, it's academics. Cooking, it's a practice with art and love. And this is one of my books published by California Press. The title is Cooking, a Quintessential Art. So when you cook, of course you have the technique, which is silly, easy. Then you have to put art in it, and then I have nothing to say about art because I'm not an artist, I'm a brute. I'm a chemist, a no-full chemist. And then you have love. Love say, okay, this is for you. This dish has been designed has been realized. I put all my energy in this. I love you. A dish means I love you. And this is why if I were Jacques Pépin, instead of teaching French technique, I would design a course with love first, art then, and technique in the end. But today we are discussing technique, but they are physicists, so we are all right. So let's begin. Because of the special organization of this place, I need to make 2 experiments first. Then we move to the PowerPoint, and in the end, we are going to smell. Is it possible to take this on, to put this on? How do you do? Rear? Off? Probably this way. Okay, it works. Oh, yes, thank you, it's done. So it's done. No, yes, thank you, it's done. I succeeded in having it. It's very funny because when I'm going in culinary school all over the world, it's always the same. The stove is on all day long. This means a lot of energy that is being spoiled. Okay, today the energy is not very expensive, so it's all right. But tomorrow we know that there will be an energy crisis, so we have to be careful about that. So now that I know that it works, I can turn it down and come back to the first experiment. The first experiment is easy. Let's take some proteins. This powder are proteins. Okay. So I put about some grams of proteins. Okay. Here it is. Now, do I have water? Okay, there is water behind. When I say water, it could be orange juice, tea, coffee. For me, it's water because I'm not a chef. Of course, the taste. Oh, thank you very much. The taste of, or it could be wine also. By the way, can I please have a glass of wine? No, because it's a better demonstration. So, a very good wine, thank you very much. So, I put water in with proteins, okay. I will put probably 20 grams, okay. Now, I'm whipping, which is technique, so you don't need me to whip, okay. A foam is being formed, okay, and I will get whipped egg white, except that the taste will be only the taste of white wine, okay. So, you see, if I were using an egg white, the egg white has no taste, but now I have the pure taste of wine, okay. So, let's whip the egg white. It's not an egg white, it's something. So we have to give a name to it, because on a culinary recipe book, it should be, what would be the name? Oh, I know. I call this an avogadro. The name of it is an avogadro, okay? From the name of the famous chemist Avogadro. So this, and the taste, who has a good palate? Do you have a good palate? Okay. Can you taste that? Put your finger, yes. It should be the taste of wine, except that it is foamy. So now you foam the wine. Okay. By the way, I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care as long as the effect, as long as I get the effect. And the effect is to make a foam. And a foam means air bubble dispersed into liquid, and this liquid is wine. And the proteins are teeny quantities of, teeny quantity. But by the way, what if we cook this? And then I would need an empty glass.
Right.
Oh,
an empty glass?
yes, my glass was there. Okay.
Okay.
We have an empty glass. Do you have a microwave oven? Very good. We can make an experiment, another one. So let's put this foam in this glass. And let's cook it. Hopefully it will be big enough. Yes, it is. How does it work? So 1, 2, 3, start. 1 minute? No. Start. Okay, start. What will be the effect? We can predict, because this is water, air, and proteins. So all is done. It's expanded, and now here it is. A wonderful result. Okay. Is your palate always the same? The taste should not change. It's the taste of wine, except that now the foam, instead of being a foam, has some consistency. And is it all right? You consider? Wine. But now the consistency, we can control the consistency. Okay. Wait a minute. Where is my bowl? Okay, this is my bowl. Now, what? So again, some proteins. Okay. 3 grams. Now again some wine. Why not? Again, mixing the 2 ingredients, which is very easy. But now I need your help. Can you help me or no? You cannot help me.
What do you need?
Are you a chef? No. Are you a chef? Okay, very good. We are going to make an emulsion. An emulsion means you disperse oil into water. This is exactly what we are doing. And in this case, the water is wine. It could be orange juice. And the proteins are using to disperse the oil droplets. Okay, you can put it. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Again, more. And now, by the way, how much of oil can we add? For the first experiment, we can, and we did make 40 liters of whipped egg white from 1 egg. So you know that we can make it. Thank you very much. Now the consistency has changed. You see that it is almost solid, which is a miracle, because we mixed liquid oil plus liquid wine plus teeny quantities of other. And you see, it is solid. It does not flow. So there is something behind. Of course, there is. Would you like to taste? Or it should be oil and wine. No miracle. Okay. But now, if I put some sugar, okay, the sugar we can predict very easily where it is going. It will dissolve into water. So now we dissolve the sugar into water. Would you like to taste? It should be wine, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Plus salt. Salt will go and okay. So you see, adjusting the taste is easy. Okay. Now I have a box somewhere. Here is a box. And this box are some pure compounds dissolved in oil. So you just go to Aldrich Chemicals. You buy, for example, I will try to find the herbaceous. Where is the herbaceous? Herbaceous somewhere. No, no coconut, not coconut, not almond, no cucumber, no butter, no. Where is the herbaceous? Popcorn, no. It's not popcorn, by the way. Smoky, no. Fatty fried chicken, no. Pineapple, no. Oh, pineapple. Would you like pineapple with that? Okay. So let's add some pineapple. And it's not pineapple, of course. It's one pure compound, food grade, kasher, that I mixed, and now probably I have some pineapple taste. So you see, it's improving slowly. Or it should improve. Is it better?
Much better.
Much better. Very good. So now we are ready to cook. So let's use a bowl, not this one. Let's put that into a bowl. It should be a beautiful. Of course, if you want the magic of cooking, you need to have a beautiful cup, and then it will be better than this one. What if we cook? Because it's an emulsion. So again, 1, 2, 3. Start. Okay, end. Okay. 1, 4, start. And now I know what's going on. The energy is being transferred into water. It will boil, so it will expand. If it expands, oh, it's down. No, not completely. Start. If it expands, it means that we reach the temperature 100 Celsius. If it is 100 Celsius, protein will coagulate. And if they coagulate, you can turn it upside down. And here it is. You have a wonderful product. And of course, you change the consistency again. Thank you very much, because you are asking a phone. And there it is. It's a new product. This one is called a GIPS from the American scientist. Is it good?
It's a pineapple floating island.
Okay, very good. A good start. So you see, if we add some colorants, we put some color. There could be natural or synthetic. I don't care, but I have to put some color. If I need some odor, I put some odor. If I need some pungency and freshness, here it is. No, not this one. If I have a plate, what I will do, I will put some of this compound, which is a dissolution. You can dissolve a solid compound into, for example, starch or salt or sugar. So this one is allyl isothiocyanate, and I invite you to put your finger, to take a teeny quantity and to taste it. And you pass the plate to the next, okay? And you will see this one is crazy. So it would be easy to put some of this compound, and then you would give some pungency, some freshness. You do what you want. Contrary to what you can do with beef meat and carrots. With beef meat and carrots, you make them beef meat and carrots. In this way, you have billions of combinations that you can control: the taste, the odor, the color, the freshness, the pungency, the consistency, the shape, everything. And this is not by not cooking. No meat, no plant tissue, no vegetables, no fruits, no fish, no eggs. Compounds, pure compounds, and then you cook. So indeed, more or less, the lecture is finished. except that we did not fry a steak. So we have to fry a steak, okay? By the way, what is a steak? Okay. A steak means, meat means, this is meat, okay? Not much, but anyway. It is 60% protein and 40% water. So is it possible to make an artificial steak? Okay. 60%, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, so 60%. And water now, 40%. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have almost the same consistency than steaks, than meat. Of course, it's not bloody, it's not red. For the time being, it's white. But of course, if I put some red tolerance, it could be red. So no, except that I'm not sure of the 60-40 proportion because it would be too hard. So I would add some more water. So you see, I'm not very strict. It's very easy. I mean, a child could do that. Now, you know that in steak, you have in French, we say persillé. The meat is persillé. I don't know how to say in English. Sorry? Marble. Marble. Very good. Marble. So we need some marbling of the steak. This is easy because marble is fat. So let's add fat. Okay. So now the steak will be marbled. By the way, of course, we need some salt. I'm sorry to have no glucose because glucose, I love this compound. Glucose is absolutely wonderful. I always put a lot of glucose in all my food, in all my sauces, because it's very, very good. Now, it's not a steak, by the way. It's something. We can give the taste we need. So butter, would you like butter with steak? Okay, butter with steak. Would you like pineapple with steak? No, no pineapple. Okay. So artists have to decide. What about camembert cheese with steak? Okay, no? Okay, no. There is not a... pungency. Bacon. Bacon, very good. Bacon. It's not bacon, by the way. It's one compound, and I can give you the name. No, more bacon. Pungency, chef, should I put some pungency? Yes. But the question is, which one? Would you prefer the pungency of chili or of mustard or of black pepper? Black pepper, very good. So this one is piperin. Piperin is the main compound for black pepper. So here it is. But you know, it's dissolved. And now we have to fry the steak. To fry a steak, if I can hear at the chef, they tell me you put a drop of oil in your pan, okay? When it's very hot, you pour your liquid, okay? Forget about the color, please, because I have no color today. And here is the meat, okay? So it will fry, okay? It's fried, very good. You see, there is some, like a pancake, because meat is like a pancake, except fibers. But let's do things correctly first. Okay, 2 sides, so very fast. And now it should be all right. Chef, would you prefer rare, blue, or medium? Medium rare. Okay, very good. So probably it's all right now. It is. So you see, please don't tell me that it is long, because it's very fast. Okay? And now the chef has to taste. including the black pepper. No, can we love so much with such important thing as cooking? How is it? Chewy. So probably we should have more fat. Yeah. There is a lot of hidden fat in meat. And Yeah, cardboard. Oh, it's not good. So we have some. What about the taste on this one?
The taste is good.
Okay, the taste is good. So it's very, you see, it's very easy to adjust. So now, okay, we make a small test, like when you make a quenelle, you put some of the product in hot water, you taste, if it is all right, you keep it or you adjust. So you see, it's very easy to make some consistency, to taste, color, we forgot about that. Now what I wanted to do, oh no, it's enough with the demonstration for the beginning because I'm not a chef. So you see, this is the idea. It's easy to make an hard consistency, an even harder consistency. The fibers. In a steak, it's true that you have the fibers. If you want to make the fibers, you would have probably to do something different. And where is my product? What you can do is, before cooking, you pour your liquid on a plastic transparent film. Okay, it has to be more solid than this one. And then you use a comb. With a small comb, you will have small fibers. With a large comb, you will have large fibers. And then this is the way surimi is made. Surimi is, the fake crab. And you can decide for the size of the fiber. This is one way of doing. There are many, many other ways of doing fibers. So it's very easy. And now you can decide to do what you want. Except that if you have a steak, you put the steak and you have only one result. So this is why I'm saying we have in front of us a big continent of new dishes, new odor, new flavors, new consistencies. And the big question that I ask you is, are you going to cross the Atlantic, to quit the old world, and to move to America? Because in front of you, you have America. And I would love that American people should be ready to cross the Atlantic, otherwise you should not be there, okay? Or you would be the shame of your ancestors, because they crossed the Atlantic. So this is the question of note-by-note cooking, more or less. Okay, you have a question now.
So people who eat all vegetables we call vegetarians or vegans, and people who eat meat, omnivores. What do we call people who eat the kind of food that you're creating? Have you come up with a name for it?
Note by note. Musicians, I don't know. It should not be the work of one alone. It should be a collective activity of people working hard. Discovering America was not so easy. Remember, there were some dodgers, there were people fighting the Indians, there were people dying. And indeed, imagine that you crossed America for the first time. The pioneers, many of them died. So there are some dangers. I'm not saying that everything is solved. I'm saying that we have a lot of questions, and now we have to think together in order to know if we decide to move in this direction. Perhaps you could say, oh, okay, I want to stick to organic. But at the same time, I would be there and say, okay, you want to stick to organic, but do you peel your potatoes? And the answer is generally no nowadays. It's very fashionable to keep the skin. And I would say, okay, you are buying organic potatoes, but you don't peel them. The 3 millimeters under the surface are full of glycoalkaloids, which are toxic. So you do what you want. But if you buy organic food, please don't smoke, don't eat barbecue, and peel the potato, which is not what people do. This lady, during all the summer, could eat barbecue meat, which is full of cancerogenic benzopyrene. This lady is not peeling the potato. This guy is drinking alcohol, which is a lot of ethanol, which is a poison. This girl is eating basil and tarragon, which contain estragol, which is a very toxic compound. This man, and so on and so on. So our behavior is completely irrational. And at the same time, we say, oh, I want to eat healthy food. Okay? Stop barbecue. Stop smoking. Stop drinking. Stop basil and tarragon. Stop anise seed. Stop cinnamon, because cinnamon contains a lot of toxic compounds. So stop. On the contrary, in this way, you can decide what you put in your food. And this is the disc. I'm not telling you what you have to do, of course. I cannot tell myself what I have to do. So, but this is why I'm saying it's better if we have a collective discussion around the food that we are producing, serving to our family or to our guests. This is very important. And now, my proposal is we miss knowledge. And then this is why I have to turn on PowerPoint, because this would be knowledge instead of demonstration. Okay? Yeah?
Quick question. You mentioned barbecue. I've seen a lot of chefs on TV who are putatively molecular gastronomists.
No.
No,
impossible.
Molecular chefs.
Okay. Molecular cooking. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, excuse me. There is a big, now I will explain that there is a big difference between molecular gastronomy, molecular cooking, and note-by-note cooking. When it's cooking, and a chef is cooking. When it's molecular gastronomy, it's science, which means equations and NMR spectroscopy, GCMS, and so on. So chefs, and this is in America that there is this confusion. And this confusion is because of me, because we invited chefs at molecular gastronomy events with scientists, because we wanted to see the chef, and the chef said, "Okay, I'm part of the game." But no, they were there to show us what they do really, what is really cooking. Okay, sorry.
So a lot of these chefs.
But thank you for the question, because it gave me the opportunity to say something about the big confusion. Okay.
So a lot of these folks, they'll do their fancy changing textures and doing
their best
a little
to make
bit of
people happy.
A note here, a note there, but then they wind up and they blow smoke on it, some kind of smoke.
Why not?
Okay, so is smoke just another tool?
Smoke,
how do you view smoke?
In two ways, or many ways. First of all, which smoke? Because when you boil water, there is a smoke over the water. It's smoke. It's water. Okay, so from the toxicological point of view, I don't care. Right. If it is a smoke from the barbecue, it's benzopyrene, and then I fear the benzopyrene. Now the smoke, it's performance, it's funny, let's say. And if it is funny, why not? I want to be happy. I have only one life. And imagine that I'm sitting at the table. I'm boring. If there is smoke, explosions, and why not? Halloween is very soon. Halloween is a performance. You have trick and treats, pumpkin. It's fun. I love that. Okay. But I want that it is good in my plate in the end. But in the Middle Age, they were serving a wild pig. So the wild pig, roasted wild pig, was coming on the table. Then you cut the wild pig, and inside there was a duck. Inside the duck there was, and suddenly birds were flowing. It was like smoke. So the performance was always there in the kitchen. Carême, the great Carême, was making sculptures out of sugar, out of many things. It was performance in a way, and people were admiring the wonderful sculptures and carvings. Pastry chefs do cakes, huge cakes. When you make the glass of champagne and you pour the champagne on the floor, wow, it's funny. I love fun. Okay.
So, but that's how you view smoke as more performance.
Except that it should not be toxic.
Yeah.
If it is toxic, we don't say "I love you" to the guests. Yeah. We kill them.
If you wanted to make non-toxic flavoring smoke, what would you use?
Very good.
That's the question.
I would use this one, the number 13 here. Not 13, the number 9. Okay?
And what is it?
It's a pure compound dissolved in oil. It is food grade, so it has been evaluated for toxicity, and it is kosher in this one. I trust the expert. Nowadays, it's very fashionable to say, "Oh, these experts, they are sold to the industry." But no. I'm an expert for food in France. I'm not sold to anybody. I want my children to eat safe food. And as an expert, I'm behaving for my children. My children are the best part of myself, with my wife, of course. But, it's very important. So trust the expert. Or if you don't trust the expert, change the expert. But this is your problem in America. But all over the world, people don't trust the experts. The experts spend thousands of hours. They are not paid very much, and they make a huge effort, and the public does not trust the experts. We are living in a very strange situation those days. Okay, let's move to the next. So now I have to take the computer in front. I mean, as near as possible. Very good. Thank you very much. It's all right. Very good. And now we are going to discuss about cooking, because this is the big question that we have. Cooking. What is it? Okay, cooking. And now I have to, from beginning. Okay, from beginning. Okay, but from the window of physical chemistry. By the way, I'm very happy to see this picture, because I did not realize. This is a dish by my friend Pierre Gagnère. When I say Pierre, it's my friend Pierre Gagnère. Pierre Gagnère is one of the best chefs of the world. And it's very funny, because Pierre is always putting a hat on the dish, which is, why does he do that? This guy is tremendously intelligent. One day, I had a question. If I'm cooking for my family, so there are, or for friends coming for dinner, this lady wants a lot of salt in her dish, but this guy wants to avoid salt. So I'm in the kitchen. What should I do? Because I do only one dish. So how much salt should I put in a dish? And then this is a big question. So I came to Pierre, and I said, Pierre, how are you doing? And he had this wonderful answer. Nobody will ask Mozart to add a violin. So salt is not a cursor, as scientists would think. It's the composition of the dish. So we don't care about the quantity of salt, in a way. We care tremendously, but we don't care if it is more or less. It's not the question. Now, so why does it make a hat? There is a reason. I forgot to ask him. What you see on this picture are a very old invention of mine, which is called a wind crystal. If you take an egg white, if you make 40 liters of whipped egg white from one egg, and if you turn that into a meringue, you have the pure taste of the wine, remember the wine, and then there is a structure like a wind crystal. So this is a wind crystal. Okay, so let's begin. This is the story that I want to tell you. I'm not sure that I will have time enough to tell you. Don't read, because if you read, you will not hear me. So I'm telling you that there is a confusion, as I told you already, and that I want to give you the true story of molecular gastronomy, because as a TV, at the press, you hear a lot of things, but very frequently, I don't recognize what I could observe. So I'm upset, and probably it's good to tell you the facts, okay? So the facts are, there was a first step for me in 1980, then in 1988 with Nicolas Curti, because in the very kind introduction you did, you said that I was the father of molecular gastronomy, but it was with Nicolas Curti. He was very intelligent, he was a brilliant man, he was my friend, and he died in 1998. Confusion again, but molecular gastronomy, then molecular cooking, then note by note in 1994. So you see, it's an old story already, but not in America. This idea did not cross America because I did not move to America to tell it. So you don't, apparently you should not know it, except if you have looked at the internet, because internet is very fast. And finally, I will try to tell you that molecular cooking should die, so that note-by-note cooking should grow. At the same time, molecular gastronomy will go straight on forever, because science never stops. Okay, this is the story that I'm going to tell you. It's clear? Yeah, okay, so let's go. So, first of all, this is easy. When you do something, this is technique, okay?
What was the contribution of Degène?
Oh no, Pierre-Gilles Degène was a Nobel Prize winner. He was one of my friends. Pierre-Gilles attended the second molecular gastronomy workshop. He was one of the members of the jury of my PhD. His wife, Anne-Marie, is a wonderful cook, and she's a friend. He did not anything except being a godfather of my work. He was, I'm saying that frequently that I educated Degène as a director of the school when I was a student, because he entered the school at the same time as me. That I was a student, he was a director. Anyway. So you see, the technique on the left, technique is you do something. Okay. Cooking is not only technique because you have art and you have love, but anyway there is technique. Science means something which is different, and it means looking at the mechanism of phenomena. Okay, this is clear. So when you look at mechanism of phenomena, you don't cook, you look at the mechanism of phenomena. And in the middle you have technology. Some people say applied science, but it is a mistake, because if it is applied, it's no longer a science, because the science is not applied. So you cannot say applied science. You can say technology, but not applied science. And I'm very sad to tell you that in Harvard there is an applied science school. It is a mistake. I'm sorry, but
I was thinking that.
yes, tell them, because they did not. I wrote to the dean. I had no answer, but you have to tell them this is a mistake. There is no applied science. Okay. So let's move to the next. So technique, technique, we are going to be fast because we have only 1 hour. They told me that I have only 1 hour, so it's almost finished. And we just begin. No, technology means the engineer. In my group, we had recently some young engineers having a project. They were doing note by note, but they were not cooking. They were on a paper, on a computer, designing food. Designing food means on a computer now. Okay, and finally, science is not technology. This is Louis Pasteur, and this guy says no, science cannot be applied, and there is a difference between the tree and the fruit. Okay, let's move to the next. So now science, you know what it is, looking for mechanism of phenomena. This is simple, but we can look at many kinds of phenomena. For example, the zebra has stripes. This guy has no stripes, so he's not a zebra probably. In science, we have to validate. So, but there are many kind of phenomena, and we have two legs. One is experiments. This is what Galileo Galilei said, and the other is mathematics. The world is written in mathematical language. So science is doing mathematics and calculation. Cooking is not doing science. This is why I'm saying that there will be no molecular gastronomy chef. There will be molecular cooking chef, but no molecular gastronomy. Bacon was one of the creators of science, of modern science. He said, you have to measure everything. Bacon was a great man, an English guy. I love this man. He was very smart. Okay. And now the method that we are using in the lab, if you don't make science, you look at a phenomenon, for example, the blueness of the sky. The sky is not yellow, it's blue. Okay? Not in Boston. Boston is gray, but I'm sorry, but this is what I could see. So the sky is blue. So what you do, after you have observed the phenomenon, then you quantify, you get a large amount of data, then you summarize this data into laws, and then you try to find an explanation, which is a mechanism. And then this is a theory, and the theory, you cannot prove it. So the scientists are not proving theories. They are trying to kill the theories that they are producing. So how they do? They say, if the theory holds, then we should observe. They make the experiment in the hope that the theory will be disproved. So you see, scientists are very strange people. They make theories that are wrong, and they know that they are wrong, and they kill the theories that they have produced. So this is crazy. Anyway. And now this is summarized there. For a mountain, it can be for a mountain, for the zebra, stripe of the zebra, and so on. And in 1980, I was cooking a soufflé. Okay, so why do soufflé expand? And at that time, it was very funny because the Larousse gastronomique was writing that the soufflé expand because of air bubble dilatation. Okay, If it were true, then this law would hold. And this law can predict an expansion of only 30%, which is not what you observe in the kitchen. You observe 200%, the soufflé is swelling much, which means that this theory was wrong. But of course, any theory is wrong. It is true that air bubbles expand, but they are not the main cause of expansion. So for years, I measured the pressure in soufflé, the temperature in soufflé. At that time, nobody knew why soufflé expand, because there was this, and you see, it's silly, 1980, it's very near. And finally, I discovered, it was a discovery, that soufflé expand because water evaporates. And if you have a 100 gram soufflé, you put it in the oven and you cook, you lose 10 grams of water that evaporates, and 1 gram of water makes 1 liter of soufflé. So now we know why soufflé swell. But in order to get this expansion, you should eat by the bottom, because if you make the steam at the bottom, then you push the layer up. And this experiment was published in Angewandte Chemie, scientific journal, because at that time I wanted to confront two sayings by 3-star chefs. One of them said, when you make a soufflé, if you want a big expansion, you have to whip the egg very firm, and the other said, not firm. I don't have shares in this theory, so I compared this one with the very firm egg whites. For a reason that it will be too long to explain today, but now having this, remember my new theory, I should be able to make a 10-liter soufflé with 100 grams. And indeed, this is not what we get. So why is it? It is because the steam bubbles go out of the soufflé from the crust. But if you make a crust, then you keep the bubble, and you have a bigger soufflé. So you see, a better theory makes a better technique. So this is 1980, so it's very old. And this was the beginning of molecular gastronomy, and we created that in March 1988. This is Nicolas Curtis, the guy. He was wonderful. He was Hungarian, Jewish Hungarian. He moved to America for some time. Oh, he has a wonderful life. Anyway, he was my friend. And the confusion came there. At these meetings in Erice, where Dejeune is probably there, or Dejeune or Jean-Marie Lehn, Nobel Prize in Chemistry. So, and you see, we invited chefs with the arrows, and the chefs were part of the game. We wanted to see really what cooking is, and this was the beginning of the cooking, because the press was there, and they could see the chef said, "Oh, okay, you're a chef, you're a molecular gastronomy chef." No, and no. Science is not cooking. Anyway, the bad was done, and now just to show you where molecular... So molecular gastronomy is a very small part between physical chemistry and food sciences, and of course there are applications in cooking, in drugs, in cosmetics, and formulation in general. Okay, so now it's clear. Of course we are to study food, not because we want to cook, because we want to learn phenomena. But what is it? What is food? And this is a big issue, because the reason why we decided to create molecular gastronomy is because very frequently food sciences or food technology were studying the food ingredients or the food processes in the industry. But daily chef cook wine, in the food chemistry textbook, there is nothing about cooking wine. So you see, it's silly. We cook wine daily, and there is no science being done. So this is why we had to create molecular gastronomy. By the way, this is a funny experiment. I took an onion, I cut the onion with an ordinary knife, and I looked with MRI analysis. So you see the scale, you see the xylem and the phloem are in the ventral part, which is a big surprise. This is a discovery. But you see this white part. So I was upset by this part. Why this white part? So the next day, I came with a scalpel, so I knew the blade, I knew the onion, I knew where the field where it was coming, and we got this picture. And there is no white part. What does it mean? It means that the blade, when it's not a very sharp blade, it compresses the tissue, and it triggers all these chemicals. And it makes the bran appearance. We made a seminar with apple, not onions, we cut the apple the same with a scalpel or an ordinary blade. We made a sensory test, and people were able to recognize the difference, because when you change the color at the same time, you change the taste. So please have good knives, very good knives, and the taste is the flavor is much better. And you can make the experiment, so it's easy. So this is why, for an apple, it's not very important, because the thickness that has been modified is 1 millimeter over 10 centimeter. But remember the carrot salad. Then the modified part is the whole part of the tissue. And then the effect is tremendous. So this is why molecular gastronomy is important, because it produces new knowledge that can be applied in the kitchen. Okay? Now, what is molecular cooking? The molecular cooking began in 1980. I looked to my hardware in my lab at home, and I said, okay, why not having them in the kitchen? It's obvious. So instead of using very poor tools like this one, if we want to make a foam, okay, let's inject bubbles. If you want to make an emulsion, just use an ultrasonic probes, and you press the button and get the emulsion. So it's obvious in all chemistry of the lab, we are doing the same as in the kitchen, except that we have modern tools and the chef have bad tools. So we have to give the chef good tools to improve cooking. Okay? So for example, on the left, this is a wonderful system to clarify stock in some seconds instead of some hours. Liquid nitrogen makes better ice cream, and so on and so on. So this is. So now, of course, if we have new tools, you can make new products, because very, very easily you use a tool for another use. And generally, when I invent a new dish, I give the name of a chemist of the past or physicist, and the discovery or the invention input on the internet site of Pierre Gagnère for free in French. I don't have time to speak English. People, because I mean, Paris is the center of the world, so the people outside Paris should make the effort to come. Okay. I'm in Boston only because my wife wants to travel. Otherwise, I would stay at the lab. You know. No, it's true. You know, the lab. It's a wonderful place. Intelligent people, brilliant, working hard, studying wonderful phenomena. So why traveling? Useless. Anyway. So this is a Liebig, this is a Priestley, this is an abstract, it's not a chemist. This is a Würz, a wonderful dish. This is a yolk at 67, it's a different thing. This is a sparkling bubble. This is a nollet salad, an artificial salad. Oh, in this case, this is a lettuce sheet, this is a tomato sheet, and this is a dressing sheet. So the dressing is in a sheet. So it's an artificial salad. Very easy to make. Wynne-Kreisel, I told you. Gibbs is an American chemist. He's probably from MIT, but I'm not sure. No? Ah, Yale, I'm sorry. Where is Yale in America?
Somewhere else.
Okay, the other place. Okay. I'm sorry. But this guy was brilliant. He was brilliant. I love Gibbs. He was. Now, chocolate chantilly, foie gras chantilly, again Liebig, nollet, Kinsheim sauce. It's crazy. I can give you the recipe in the end if you want. Another abstract, hydrolysis. The name of this dish is hydrolysis. It was cooked for 72 hours. This one is a Wöhler sauce. So this sauce is really wonderful. Shitao is not a chemist, it's a painter, Asiatic painter. This is again a Würz, but a different one. This is... okay, you can read. A Gibbs. Pyrolysis. Pyrolysis is something different. And this is finished, okay? So forget about molecular cooking. It's for grandfathers. We have to move to the future, okay? And the future is note by note, okay? Note by note cooking. So I have to explain very fast. First of all, I have to explain that we have to work. This is what I like in life, work, okay? Because looking at football match at the TV, nothing worse, okay? Or perhaps there is something worse, baseball. Anyway, so note by note cooking. So you see, we can see texture, we can see consistency, we can see odor, we can see what we want. The history, it's now being easier for you. This is how it began. My grandfather had plums, which are Mirabelle. Mirabelle, we have many, too many, so we distillate. And my grandfather was putting some wood into the bottle. Why? Because he wanted to make the barrel inside instead of outside. That's why wood. And the answer is there. In wood, you have lignin. And lignin, when you store lignin, which is in wood, okay, you have cellulose and lignin, more or less, plus water. When you store this product in alcohol, in brandy, suddenly this molecule is dissociated into a lot of very odorant molecules, among which vanillin. So this is why in all my whiskies I put some vanillin, and you get wonderful results. Okay. Slightly later, another friend of mine discovered that para-ethylphenol gives the taste of old leather of Burgundy wine. So why not in the whiskey? And you turn a bad whiskey into a Lafroig or Lagavulin or okay. So my whiskies have para-ethylphenol. And in 1994, I wrote in Scientific American, I'd read at the time when we are going to cook with compounds. And this was not by not cooking. Now, if it is strange to you, look at this picture. It's very strange that we cook chicken as in the Middle Age, because nobody today came riding a horse. So we have cars. You don't use feather. You have computers. But in the kitchen, we cook like in the Middle Age. So it's very strange. With benzopyrene, with everything bad. So why? This is the first question. And then how can we change? Do we want to change? What I know, because of my analysis at the lab, that any compound, food ingredient that we are using is made of compounds. So, I mean, mainly water, cellulose, pectins, proteins, sugars, amino acids. Okay. Sugars are glucose, fructose, and sucrose, and amino acids there are about 20 of them. Okay. So, indeed, a carrot is only a group of compounds that has been organized in some way. So why not having the compounds organize them in some way? And this is not by the cooking. So you see, it is obvious. But then the chef will ask the question, okay, it's obvious, but it can take a long time. But remember, it was not very long first. It's true that when you cook note by note, you make new products, and this makes new art. And new art is always what young people want. I mean, at the end of the Second World War in Paris, Louis Armstrong was coming, a jazz man. At that time, French people say, oh no, it's not music. Okay. But 10 years later, John Coltrane came to Paris. And the people who love jazz said, oh no, this is not music. And then Lady Gaga is coming, and we say, oh no, it's not music. And in 10 years, someone will come, and the same with painting, and the same with sculpture, and the same with literature. So please, let's open our eyes, and what is art? This is the first question. And then what I can tell you is that note by note cooking is exactly the same as electroacoustic music. So we have pure waves. We assemble the waves, so we don't deconstruct, and we construct. We don't make fake carrots. It's useless. We make something that never existed before. And we have America in front of us. A big continent. Probably much bigger than America. Okay? So we have this new taste. So if you have... Are you gourmand? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So if a real gourmand should not resist. So let's go very fast. Okay? Otherwise, you are not gourmand. I love this argument. If you are not gourmand, you are not going to do note by note cooking. But if you are gourmand, you have to do that. Otherwise, you are not gourmand. Anyway, it's true that we have to build the food. But you see, it was quite fast. Now, the ingredients. Where are we going to find the ingredients? My proposal is, this is an old experiment. You take flour, you put water. It was done in 1742, so it's a very old story. You make a dough, okay? When this dough is very strong, you put it into a vessel with water. You press it slightly. There is a powder. This is starch. And there is a chewing gum. This is gluten. Easy. So now, you see, you can decompose a food product into two parts. This is fractionation. It's not the same as cracking. Cracking, you would modify chemically during the process. Okay, so this is a slight difference. So the technique is very old, but we can decompose and decompose and decompose, and in the end we have pure compounds. And this is my proposal. The proposal is to at the farm, we are using some new material, and instead of selling carrots for very cheap price, we make this kind of products. And then there you have added value, and then you are richer, and you are richer, you can take care of the environment. So indeed, this is a political project. It's not only an artistic project. So this is my idea. Of course, there will be big companies, I know that for sure, but if there is some hope from farmers, it will be all right, because they take care of the environment. Now, the products, we have them. They are on the internet, you can find them, and the box that I showed you there, the company is producing that for free now. So we gave the box for free for people who wanted to participate to a contest of note-by-note cooking. So now we are announcing the third note-by-note cooking contest. We give to the competitors proteins, octanol in oil, plus anthocyanins from wine. And they have to make a dish with that. Last year we had 75 competitors, and the youngest was 10 years old. So you see, it's some cooking for young people. I mean, I'm too old probably, because for me it will not be art. Okay. Of course, we have to make gels because we eat mostly gels, but not this kind of awful gels. They are awful things. Nothing to chew. It's awful. It's not. There is no I love you effect in there. Okay. So we have to make gels, but all food are gel because the definition of gels is water trapped into a solid. So you see, this girl is 40% water and she's not flowing. So she's a gel, but you are a gel also, except the bone, because the bones are harder. But the bones perhaps are gel because the bones have cellular space inside and it's full of water. So even the bones can be gel, more or less. Okay? So there are many kind of gels. Depending on your taste, you would choose this one or the other. There are gels. And making the marbling gels, it's easy, in the two cases also. And now we can have another view on food. Look at the traditional food. It was molecular food, but we don't care. It's traditional compared to note-by-note. When you look with your eyes, you see the microscopic organization. So you see there is one layer of sauce, one layer of leaves, one layer of gyps, it's a gyps, and one layer of a special preparation that we did. Okay. So there are 4 or 5 layers. It's the organization. Now, if you look to a microscope to one of these parts, you see that it has a structure. In this case, it's an emulsion with oil droplets dispersed into water. Okay. But now, if you look closer with a bigger microscope, what you can see, you see the organization of the organization. And if you go even deeper, then you stop to molecules. And in this picture, it was the chef said in the old time that you should never cook raspberries or red fruits in a copper pan with tin, otherwise it turns blue. It's not true. But if you add copper ions, then you turn the raspberry into blue, or the gooseberries also. So you see there is an association of the metal ion with the anthocyanins, the compound for color, and it changes the color of the product. So you see now, this, we suffer the result, but now we can design it. We can associate molecules together, then associate the groups of molecules into nanoscopic organization, then associate the nanoscopic into microscopic, and then into macroscopic. So we can design food at any scale. And this is crazy. So it's not only a question of taste. The taste is teeny quantities, the odor are teeny quantities, the color are teeny quantities. So this, and now this was the first dish served in a restaurant by my friend Pierre. I wanted Pierre to be the first in the history of cooking. And now he is forever the first chef. He was not the first to make note by note, but he was the first chef. And here are dishes. So this is a dish by the Cordon Bleu School. This one, unfortunately, they use the raspberry. It's useless. In this one, okay, this one is fine. It's note by note. This one was called the idea of an oyster because it's very funny. We have to give name to these dishes. But if there is no beef and carrots, we cannot call that beef and carrots. So how can we call it? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm turning you my back. It's very impolite. But I apologize because the computer is there. I'm not forgetting you. So the name of this one was the idea of an oyster. There was no oyster, of course. Okay. The next one was a voleur soufflé. It was wonderful. On your right, it's real meat. I wanted it to be awful. It's awful. On the left, you have the note by note. And the orange cylinder is not a carrot. It's an orange cylinder. It's very easy to make an orange cylinder. Okay? This was the dessert, but unfortunately, they put raspberries and how do you call them? The blackberries. Blackberries, okay. Now, at the Cordon Bleu Paris, we had many dinners. So this is one of the meal. This was a wonderful pastry called the Blue Ribbon, Cordon Bleu. In Montreal, we had a drink. Oh, for a drink, it's easy. You take water, ethanol, some glucose, citric acid, some odorant. You put that in a siphon with a carbon dioxide cartridge, and you push in the glass blanche, and then you have a drink. So more or less, it's like Coca-Cola or Schweppes, except that with ethanol, it's much better. Now, these are the dishes that we made in these dishes were served to 150 journalists. So it was a press conference. So you see, when the chefs are doing it, it's not when I'm doing it. They are doing their best so that it is good, and then we can serve it for the press. The press is very important. You should not make mistakes. Otherwise, they write in the paper, well, it's very bad. No. By the way, even bad advertising is good advertising. So I don't care. So this is another one. This one is more like the one with the comb that I showed you, okay? Except that it was blue with a special odor and special taste. Now, new chef moved. This is an artificial orange. So people are upset by artificial something. But artificial means art. And then, these are bags. What is an orange? They are bags glued together full of oranges. So there are bags full of oranges glued together. Okay, very simple. So should we fear that? Politically, is there any question behind? Of course, there are always questions. That are we ready to move in this direction? By the way, artificial meat, what does it mean? Meat is made from tubes full of proteins and water. There are tubes full of protein and water. So this is artificial meat. So when people are saying, wow, there were in vitro meat cultivated for a steak at $200,000, I don't care. Artificial meat, we can do artificial meat. And the taste, you control it completely. Okay. This was not cultivated in vitro, of course. This one was done recently in Denmark. I'm very happy to tell you, and I say that for the people responsible for this program here. In Denmark, the Culinary School of Copenhagen, 1,500 students teach note by note now regularly, using my book as a notebook. And the same in Portugal, in Estoril and in Lisbon. So America is very late, so please move fast. I have nothing to sell, so do it as you want. But if you don't do it, you will be late. Imagine America being late. You were late once with the Russian for Sputnik and the space, so now you have to move, okay? So again in Copenhagen, and just to finish, molecular gastronomy now, science. What should I say? Okay, there are billions of questions, so we can study forever. There are one of them, for example, why apricots appear sour when you cook them. This is very strange. You know, when you have apricots, you taste them, they are okay. You make an apricot tart, and suddenly they become acidic. How is it possible? I don't know. And nobody knows. So this is one of the questions we could study. It has nothing to do with note by note, of course. Now it's finished by note by note. I told you about note by note. Now I'm moving back to the lab, the best place of the world. Now, what can we study? If we have so many questions, we have to rank them. I'm speaking to my colleagues now because I know that in Zillion they are chefs, but chefs they had a lot of material for them, but for the scientists, this is a big question. When we have so many questions, how to rank them? We have to get an order. And my proposal recently was to use this system. I invite you to teach this system in all colloidal science. It's on the internet, it's for free, you find it. It's very efficient. You have a formalism, which is a calculation, and with this calculation you make combinations, and I will be fast, but you can describe at any scale, microscopic, nanoscopic, molecular. You have formulas, and you rank this formula with energy, free energy, by the way, in this case. And now you have formula, which means that you have systems and you have properties. Can you predict the property from the formula? This is the big thing. About gels, because gels are most important, because remember these two people are gels. So what are the formula of gels? So this is, look at this formula, it is one gel. Look at this one, it's another formula, which means that the gel category is too broad. On the contrary, the formula category are more clean. So another formula, and another formula, all for gels. Again, chocolate is a gel because you have some liquid fat inside the solid. Another one. So you see, we have many formulas. How many of them? And this is the result work. I decided to make a small program to produce all the possible formulas. And I'm very proud to show you my latest discovery. I discovered that there are about 1,500 possible gels, not more. Here they are, and again, and again, and here. You have all them. So you cannot make any new food except these systems. And by the way, these systems have different bioactivity. Bioactivity means the release. If you put some odorant compound, it will be released. How fast? And you see, when we calculate theoretically the release, we see a difference, which means that we could predict a gel having a big release and probably then a disappearance of the taste and then appearance again, like in wine. In wine, you have the attack, and then you have more or less the longueur en bouche, length in mouth. I don't know the translation. Longueur en bouche? Is it all right? Okay, it's all right. So, what are the possible laws? This is my work nowadays. We are figuring all the bioactivities of all these gels, and this is long. Can we get this kind of release? It would be exciting. I mean, imagine having food, suddenly the taste disappears, but again comes, again disappears, or a new one comes. So designing food in this detail, it would be crazy. Of course, we have to use note by note, because with traditional food it's probably impossible. Sometime we can make some new products. And now just to finish, what are you going to eat tomorrow? I don't know, because I have no crystal ball. Except that I know that we are going to be 10 billion. You are going to be 10 billion because I will be dead. So what are we going to do? Because we can feed 6 billion. So is there a world war? I don't know. So my strategy is to avoid spoilage, to produce new food ingredients, because then we will avoid spoilage. For example, eggs could break, or eggs could spoil. These proteins will not spoil. We don't need any fridge to store them. So you can store them forever. It's very light. When you have a truck with this, you don't have water. Eggs are water, 90%. So this is the question. And my strategy is to give the new food, note by note, to the king. The king has enough money to go in this place. We don't have money to go in this place. So we are looking at the king and say, oh, I would love to eat like the king, of course. So my strategy is very clear. I give the new to the king only. So I keep my box away from you. It's for the king, not for you. You are the lay people. No. Of course, my goal is that you want it. It's clear. At the same time, we use, in France, the school is public. which means that if I know the minister, I can do what I want with the school. And any year, there is 1 million of people coming into school. So if I design the curriculum, it's done. Because the old people will die, the new will come, and it's done. So we have to educate. And finally, we have to ask questions. Why are we still roasting chicken, making barbecue meat? I don't know. It's very strange. Why are we sticking to our old pans? I don't understand. Why do we love bad food with cancerogenic products? Benzopyrens are cancerogenic. I mean, who is going to stop barbecue? Okay, nobody. You will go on with cancer. Okay, very good. You decided to go with cancer. And then, please don't tell me that you want healthy food, okay? You see, benzopyrens, you see the small labels, okay? Okay, you know that really? And you will go on with barbecue. It's very strange. Very, very strange. Anyway, sometimes we don't know, and we make studies. For example, this is basil and tarragon. I assume that you can read at the bottom. You see, it's in English, so it's for you. Estragol is the main component, odorant component of basil and tarragon. You see, it's cancerogenic and genotoxic. And then, are you stopping basil? No?
Yes.
Yes? You're not right. Because when you make the experiment, and it was made in 2010, you take estragol and you put that on cells in vitro, they die. You put the basil leaf on the cells, they don't die. And we don't understand why. So it's wonderful. Probably something in the plant tissue is preventing the estragol to kill the cells. Is it cellulose? Is it starch? We don't know. But there is something. So we have to study it. Okay? And by the way, just to finish, this is my goal, making people happy together, not alone, together. And then the duty of the cook, the cook is away in the kitchen, and he's putting the plate on the table, and these people, the duty of the cook is to make these people happy together. This is a wonderful job. If I were not a physical chemist, I would be probably a cook. But I prefer being a physical chemist because we have equations and it's much better than food. Okay. And finally, you can read. Please read. It's written there. Can you read it? Whatever the job, let's work because it's the pleasure of life. If you want to shout at me because I said something very awful, please use my email and let's discuss. I will answer at any time, except when I'm away in Boston because the connection is not very good. But I know in my hotel, not in general, but I will be very happy to again many excuses. I beg your pardon to turn, but it was not so easy. I hate the idea of having showed my back to someone. It means that we have to design the places differently. You know, in education, for example, having a blackboard, the professor is going there, writing a blackboard, it's crazy. We are living in the 21st century. We have to design a new way of education, a new way of doing science, a new way of cooking, a new way of being. By the way, I have to explain the picture. The picture is Hermes, the god of chemistry, speaking to Bacchus, the god of good food. Okay. So, hands in hands, we are going to make a brilliant future. Thank you for your attention. And, of course, I can answer questions. First there. Do you have questions? No? No? I was too long. There is one question there. One second. Sorry.
What do you eat yourself?
What do I eat myself? Food. Good food, preferably. By the way, in my kitchen, I'm the one who cooks daily at home.
Do you eat the molecular gastronomy food yourself? I mean, I don't understand.
Good food. I mean, at the time being, we have to work to find the good recipes in order to make it well. But most of the time, for example, I have a glucose package in my and I put something in the sauce. For example, many times recently we had friends for dinner. I was making two sauces. The first one I was having shrimps, very cheap, just grilled in the pan with oil. Not oil, but this oil with a specific one. Where is it? Herbaceous. And now it's time that you can smell something. Okay. So first of all, herbaceous. Where is herbaceous? No. Fatty fried chicken, no. Smoke, no. Coconut, no. Popcorn, no. No, not this one. No. Potato, okay, no. Camembert, no. Where is herbaceous? Coconut. Smoked, no. Fatty fried chicken, no. Almond, no, it's too easy. Potato, no, I don't like this one. Basmati, no. Herbaceous, okay. So I invite you to you keep the how do you call that? The cap with the bottle, and you pass it, you smell, and okay. This is 1 hexane 3 oil dissolved into oil. It has a wonderful odor of virgin olive oil. I don't have much money because I'm paid by the government, so I'm not paid much. No, it's true, it's a joke. And then I put this in my olive oil, which is a cheap olive oil, and it's better. So, and I don't see why I should refuse this way of doing. By the way, this product is food grade and kosher, so I'm very happy. It is not toxic because it has been evaluated by the French Agency of Food and Drug and so on. It's a beautiful odor, isn't it? Yeah. Very fresh, very... You want to smell another one? Okay. Which one? Almond? Sorry? Camembert, okay. Okay, because poor people in America, you don't have camembert. I prefer the camembert that I have at home. But anyway, it's a way. If you don't have camembert because the law forbids you to have raw cheese, raw milk cheese, let's have the other. Did I answer your question? Yes, more or less. Yes?
No barbecue? So, barbecue. Why is that a problem? Why are the techniques that we used, our ancestors used, from so many centuries ago, why is that?
Yes, but people died.
People died. But there is, and I love it all, but there's also a social component. There is texture. It's tactile. And different. Okay. Important, no?
There is a question of grilling meat. Okay. It has been shown that if you have an ape or a man or a cat, they prefer cooked meat. This is a fact. It has been measured. So now cooked meat is probably an advantage from the evolution point of view. We have to understand that it's a fact. Now barbecue. It's very funny. When you look at culinary books of the old times, when you put the meat over the fire, the fat is melting, goes onto the charcoal, makes some smoke, and this smoke contains benzopyrene. Okay, and this is toxic. And we know, for example, in Europe, the north of Europe is eating a lot of smoked products, and they die. We know that epidemiologically from cancer of the digestive tract. So having a lot of barbecue is bad. We know that for sure. Except that in the old times, they were not putting the meat over the fire. They were putting the meat in front. And then there is no benzopyrene. The grilling occurs the same. Please make the experiment. You put your hand very near your cheek. You don't touch it. Do it. You will feel some heat. What does it mean? It means that infrared radiations are flowing from your hand to your cheek. It's the same with fire. It is not important that you have the meat over or on the side. It will eat the same. It will cook the same. But the ancestors were very good at cooking meat with fire, and they invented a shell. A shell was an iron reflector behind, and then it was cooking faster, and you had no benzopyrene. And at the same time, because here, when you have the meat on top of the fire, you lose everything. Today it's not very important because we are fat. We have a lot of food. But before it was very sad because people were starving. And they knew that if you put the meat in front, not over, you can put a lèche frite and keep all the juices, the wonderful juices, and you keep everything. So it's a much better idea. So today we are silly people and we don't know how to cook. Okay, sir.
So you talked tonight about note-by-note cooking. Is there any movement of note-by-note drinking? So.
Note-by-note drinking is already made with Coca-Cola and Schweppes.
Well, or for people at home, like let's say I wanted to make a bottle of wine myself.
No. Impossible to make wine note by note because wine, there is a legal definition. It's very easy to make artificial wine, but it will not be wine because wine is defined as the product of fermentation of grape. So if you do something artificial, it will not be wine. It will be something, it will be very good. For example, at my lab, I have a small bottle, like the one that you could see, with the flavor of Haut-Brion 1985 wine. It's crazy. When I work at the lab, I'm opening the bottle near my computer. And I work in a Haut-Brion smell all day long. Okay, it's wonderful. And it's easy to put it into water plus 10% ethanol. But it will not be wine. It will be a drink. A note-by-note drink is very easy. By the way, we have to be careful. Oh no, it's another story. It's a very long story. Another question, yes?
With the note-by-note cooking, how does the nutritional value compare to food as we know it now? So if you guys made like a steak, how would the nutritional value compare to a steak?
The nutriments that we are having nowadays are lipids, proteins, and polysaccharides. Sugar, let's say. No, but sugar. So let's put them together, plus water, you make the mass, and then you add the flavors. The flavors are detailed. By the way, about wine, it's very interesting to see that the terroir will not be... Imagine that you fractionate wine, you take out water, you get the phenolics. I have about... This was the basic of the Wöhler sauce. Depending on which grape you fractionated, you get the terroir. You have a different. It's impossible to make a pure compound. So we have always impurities, and the terroir is very frequently impurities. Impurities means not that it is bad. It means that it is a teeny quantity compared to the mass of the product. So the terroir will be kept. There will be no problem. And the big question about nutrition value is not to put enough of it. It's to take some out of it because we are too fat. So we have to design food so we have the right amount adapted to our exercise or the energy losses that we are having. And then we have to make... By the way, allergy. If people have an allergy to something, you make a product, but you don't put the product for which they have an allergy. Toxicity. We can decide what we put in the product. So we design completely. Yeah?
You've spoken tonight about protein, about water, about gels, about fats, but you haven't really mentioned starches, and I'm thinking how most of the world lives on a diet.
No, I said polysaccharides, which is starch.
I guess I'm asking more globally that most people rely on a diet that's very heavy in starches. How do you see the role in your note-by-note cooking?
It's very important, very important. But also cellulose, for example. And for example, I don't have time to make many experiments, but imagine that you take some carrots and you make a centrifugation to extract the juice. Generally, you get a solid residue. People drop it. It's cellulose. But cellulose are fibers. So people buy fibers for their breakfast and they drop the fibers that they make when they produce the juice. So let's add them in the mixture of protein and water, and you see the result is incredible. They can make, they can avoid the cardboard effect because they can link to a lot of water. I mean, carbohydrates are molecules that have a lot of hydroxyl groups. Hydroxyl is, let's call them hydroxyl with some particularities. And this hydroxyl group can link to water. So it's very important to link water because you have more water in the product. And we eat water mostly. So we can play with it's just a technical treatment. But it's very important. Yeah, polysaccharides are very important. And by the way, there are many different ones. For example, please, if you buy shrimps, don't drop the shell, because the shell is made of carbonate, calcium carbonate plus chitin, and chitin are polysaccharides, but it's a very special one. If you grill the shell, you make a new taste because there is a nitrogen atom, and you make furans, very odorant compound. Then you add water and you make the bisque. So you have the bisque plus the shrimps. Very good. Okay, yeah.
My question is about the economics of this. Is note by note price-wise, because of all the processing you have to do first to extract all the proteins and everything, is it comparable in price, or is it more expensive? Or?
Nowadays, I mean, today,
yes,
45% of the food being produced at the farm is spoiled. Okay. Which means that if we can avoid the spoilage, we multiply the output of agriculture by 2. And who is paying for the spoilage? You and the farmer. So, first of all, you gain some money. Now, the big question of how much energy do you need to fractionate as a farm compared to transporting water in big trucks and cooking with a lot of energy. Remember this awful thing, people in culinary school all day long leaving the stove on. Okay, so when we want to discuss the thing, let us discuss clearly. And this is why nowadays in Paris I have a group of students. I mean, they are not students, they are people working for the state who are calculating everything, but the carbon dioxide budget, land managing, everything included. We have to consider every possibility. What I'm thinking is that tomorrow the energy problem will all hopefully be solved with nuclear fusion, but the production of food products is not possible because we cannot increase much the lands, we cannot increase much the output of the lands, and then the best way is to avoid spoilage. And if the way to avoid spoilage is to fractionate as a farm, and then we have a bigger output, and then we can feed 11 billion people. So it's a possibility. I'm sorry, I cannot admit to spoil energy. It was only for you. It was my gift. Of course, I did not pay for that, but where is it? Okay, this one. Yeah.
So you mentioned some of the polymers that you use, but so do you use some other artificial polymers or polymers that you extract?
This is a wonderful question. I love this guy.
You can use DNA, for example, that you extract.
Yes. What is the taste of DNA? By the way, a polymer generally has no taste because it's a polymer. But it's true. There was a wonderful... there was a guy that I don't like, a chemist called Berthelot. Berthelot predicted that in the year 2000 we are going to eat pills. Okay. We are in the year 2000, we are not eating pills, and it's not possible because the energy that we need for one man living daily is about 300, if this is the most energetic compound that we are eating. In order to survive, we need 300 grams of this oil. But in this oil, we don't have nitrogen, which means that if we have to add nitrogen, it's even bigger. So there will be no pills. This is a problem. It was a certainty until recently. I consider, but what about making artificial molecules that would store more energy than oil? And then I don't know, but it is a big possibility. Yes.
I wanted to sort of encourage and answer this question. In the New York Times a few weeks ago, there was an article about how refrigeration was the next big business in China because half the food doesn't make it to market because of spoilage.
Sure.
So half of all the food in China.
And by the way, the
spoils.
fridge, the cold technology is not sustainable. And recently, at the French Academy of Agriculture, I organized a lecture to show that the fridge technology is not sustainable. And this is a way to avoid it. If it is not sustainable, it's not sustainable. So tomorrow, you will not have fridge. Or perhaps in America, because you are rich people, but in the world, they will not have fridge. So we have to find a solution. Sorry.
This will be our last question.
Oh, good. Thank you. So in recent years, a number of people have promoted the concept that foods pair well with each other or
it's
wine.
A mistake.
All right,
Big
because they have
mistake.
similar flavor compounds.
Big mistake.
So I thought here I'd ask the expert on flavor
it's a big mistake because in art there are no rules. I mean, the art for centuries always tried to escape the rule and succeeded. When you say, okay, how do you say it in English? Do. So La is A, B, C should be Do. Okay. When you have the C notes plus Do, so C, F is Sol probably. Okay. So in the old time they say C and F go together. They pair together well. But suddenly Beethoven was there and he tried C and E, and it paired very well. So the food pairing is a very wrong theory because there is no scientific basis when you look carefully. And if you don't know this theory, they say that you can, by the way, you have to know that this theory was promoted by a big flavor company, and this is not so, and this theory says you can pair two food together if they have one odorant molecule in common. But all food have one molecule in common. So I told them, and I said, okay, but it has to be an important odorant molecule. But what is the important molecule? I don't know. So, when a theory is adapted to a criticism, it's not it's a theory, but it's not right. So, food pairing, do what you want, but be intelligent enough to succeed. And this is art. It's a question of art. It's not a question of technique. Sorry, what was the question?
That was it, but I'm glad you were feeling it. Thank you.